Hello and welcome. This is Shaliza Williams, class teacher 8F. I quote, "Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think." Unquote, Albert Einstein. We at GMIS encourage children to think critically and creatively, which is clearly evident through their work, especially through their annual exhibition, where students take up topics of global concern which they wish to explore, inquire, research, find solutions, and present, helping them become better global citizens. So let's watch, learn, and enjoy as our young minds present their virtual exhibition. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Abhinav Dinesh from 8F, and for my exhibition, I have chosen the topic Water Scarcity and Desalination. My SOI is water scarcity around the world can be solved by filtering and purifying available water sources. What is water scarcity? Water scarcity can be primarily described as the lack of access to fresh water. There are two types: physical water scarcity, which is the lack of water, and economic water scarcity, which is the lack of infrastructure to provide fresh water. What are governments doing to fight water scarcity? Governments are engaging with businesses such as UN Water to establish mechanisms encouraging companies to be resource efficient and transparent in their water use. What about the future? On the graph on the left, we can see the global freshwater use in the past 100 years. From 1901 to 2014, our freshwater use has quadrupled, showing that water scarcity is not going to decline in the near future without our help.
In this poster, you can see water scarcity around the world. Most developed countries, such as US and countries in Europe, have little to no water scarcity, while developing countries such as India and desertified developed countries such as UAE have physical water scarcity. Finally, underdeveloped countries such as many in Africa and Mexico have economic water scarcity.
What's desalination? Desalination is the process of removing salt and other minerals from saline water to purify it. Desalination is effective and reliable, and if properly designed, can produce unlimited and high quality water. But sadly, it's an energy hungry process, making it extremely expensive. It also produces a byproduct called brine, which is harmful for marine life.
So, how do desalination plants work? It starts with a simple mechanism. Seawater is filtered with sand. It is then screened and larger particles are removed. Water is filtered to remove smaller particles through ultrafiltration, and finally, water is treated and salt is removed through reverse osmosis. Finally, water is treated and tested by health experts and released to water supply networks. Rejected water and brine is also sent back to the ocean.
Will desalination help fight water scarcity? The only way desalination can be a good option to solving the water crisis is if renewable energy is used, costs are lowered, and environmental protections are put in place for marine life too. If these hurdles are crossed, our future is looking bright. But we don't have much time. We must take action before it's too late. During the course of this exhibition, I was educated on the issue of water scarcity and realized the importance of addressing this issue. I was also able to enhance my critical thinking and analytical skills. These are my resources, and I would like to thank Ms. Shalaza, Sir Shivendra, and Sir AP Singh for guiding me, supporting me, and helping me through this exhibition. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Ben. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you been exercising, eating properly, and maintaining a peace of mind? Well, some of you may say yes, and some of you may say no. But because of COVID-19, our ways of exercising have been limited. We cannot go out to jog or go out to the gym. But we must maintain our health during COVID-19 and even after to prevent from being ill and many more. Today, my topic is how and why we should maintain our health during COVID-19. Let me explain. Now, let me explain. Methods on maintaining healthy during COVID-19. Maintaining health is important. Exercising regularly, eating properly, and maintaining a peace of mind every day is very essential. Not exercising properly every day weakens your muscle and your bones, making your body very fragile. Not eating properly every day will restrict your body from performing its best and make us feel weak. But most importantly is to have a peace of mind. Having a peace of mind helps us reduce stress and helps you to relax. 3 efficient exercises that we can do at home. Number 1. Lunges. Lunges help increase mass to build up strength and tone your body, especially your core, butt, and legs. Push-ups. Push-up is an action of raising your lower body by using your arm. Push-ups help strengthen your upper body. They also work on your triceps and shoulders. Squats. What are squats? Squats help build muscle, strengthen your leg, strengthen your core, boost athletic abilities and stamina. It also reduces the risk of injuries. The reason why I picked this exercise because it can be done anywhere and does not require much space. Healthy intakes. But we all must balance the time of us working out and eating. Eating is an important factor to maintain healthy, but not just eating whatever you want. We must eat specific nutrients and maintain our weight. Eating too much isn't good, and eating too little isn't either. We must maintain an eating plan. An eating plan is choosing the food that would be most likely to benefit you in terms of health and nutrients. Number 1. If you want the most nutritious food, which is simple and cheap and healthy, rice and beans is the key. Though it may seem dull, both rice and food, both both rice and beans are very nutritious on their own. A serving of rice and beans, on the other hand, will help you get all your protein without consuming meat, beef, or chicken. Combination 2. Cheese and egg. Calcium and vitamin D works in synergy to help promote healthy bones. A glass of milk will give you both, but so can an egg and cheese sandwich. Frittata or omelette, egg yolk contain vitamin D. You will find calcium in the cheese. Combination 3. Leafy greens and tomatoes. Leafy greens and tomatoes are high in potassium, which helps to reduce blood pressure, fiber, which helps to control cholesterol, and folate, which helps to prevent heart disease and stroke. Maintaining a peace of mind. Peace of mind is a state of being mentally and spiritually at peace and in sync with your emotions. It is to have enough knowledge and understanding to keep oneself calm in the face of discord and stress. Peace of mind is a great way to reduce stress of day-to-day life and can help to become a calmer, more relaxed person overall. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Arshdeep, and my topic is poverty. Anyone who has struggled with poverty knows how extremely expensive it is to be poor, by James Baldwin. Poverty isn't just about not having enough money. Poverty is hunger. Poverty is lack of shelter. Poverty is being sick and not being able to see a doctor. Poverty is not having access to school and not knowing how to read or write. Poverty is not having a job. People aren't able to pay for any medications for an illness. Those who struggle to even get one meal a day can't simply consider these other expenses. Types of poverty. Situational poverty. Situational poverty is the result of a sudden crisis or failure. It is usually only temporary. Generational poverty. When at least two generations of a family are born into poverty, it is referred to as generational poverty. Absolute poverty. Absolute poverty is lack of basic needs. Relative poverty. Relative poverty is when income is inadequate as per society's standard of living. Urban poverty. Urban poverty exists where population is high, causing overcrowding, violence, noise, and lack of services. Rural poverty. Rural poverty in rural areas with single earning member and lack of basic services. Poverty in children. Poor children have serious health issues which may result in physical and mental disabilities. Children born in poverty are likely to die early or may live with various problems. A child may be born in poverty, but poverty is never born in a child. By West Stafford. How can we help eradicate or reduce poverty? Buy what you need and not what you want. Save that money to feed or help a poor person. Share your blessings with the needy. Declutter and share good old conditioned clothes, shoes, or any household item which could be of use to a needy person. For festivals and celebrations, give a treat to street children and garbage pickers. This way, you could be a blessing to others and at the same time collect blessings for yourself. People must provide more job opportunities so people can earn their living and come out of poverty. If all the rich and prosperous people plan and get together to help educate or provide for the needy, this world would become a better place. During this pandemic, let's try and take care or feed one person every day. Imagine how many people everyone could feed. Overcoming poverty is not a gesture of charity, it is an act of justice. By Nelson Mandela. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Priscus and I'll be doing about the topic overfishing. I've always wanted to talk about overfishing and to spread the awareness on how it affects our world so much. Scientists said that by the year 2045, all the fishes in the world will be gone if overfishing continues at this rate. So, what is overfishing anyways? Overfishing is the removal of large quantities of fishes at a rate where fishes cannot replenish. Where and by who? Overfishing is a global issue. It is happening all over the world. The place where overfishing occurs the most is the Mediterranean Sea. It's the most overfished in the world, with 62% of its fish stocks now overfished and at serious and real risk of being depleted. Japan, China, the US, Indonesia, Taipei, and South Korea have been named by Pew Charitable Trusts on a shame list of countries responsible for overfishing tuna in the Pacific. The Pacific Six, which are those countries I just mentioned, are responsible for 80%, which is 111,485 metric tons in 2011, of the annual catch of big-eyed tuna. Now, I'll be focusing more on overfishing done by China. China was the country that overfished the most in metric tons in 2018 and accounts for one-third of the world's reported fish caught. So when did all of this start? Let's go all the way back to the early 1800s, where the earliest overfishing occurred with humans seeking blubber for lamp oil decimated the whale population. In the Yangtze River in China, fish populations are less than 5% of what they were in the 1950s, with many species facing extinction. Now the question arises, why do people overfish despite the danger it can cause to the world? China has become the largest seafood exporter in the world, especially for shark fins. Shark fins are amongst the most expensive seafood products, commonly retailing at $400 per kg, making huge profits for fishermen, especially in China with the amount of people that consumes it. Business's main objective is to satisfy consumers and industry's demands. Due to that, a lot of businesses would go to extreme lengths to satisfy those demands, and that includes unethical approaches. The overfishing industry plays a huge part in the market. They are everywhere, from grocery stores to even having their own fish markets. How does overfishing affect the marine ecosystem? Overfishing can damage the marine ecosystem and food chain because of many ways. Overfishing can also wreak havoc and destroy their environment and marine ecology and completely disrupt the food chain. Bottom trawling, a type of destructive fishing method, can cause coral reefs to be destroyed and losing fishes' habitats and homes. They also kill dolphins, sharks, and other types of whales to consume their meat or to delete competition. They do it so they are able to have more fishes to catch and sell. Overfishing can also affect coral reefs in two ways. One is bottom trawling and the other is overfishing itself. Coral reefs live and grow from natural waste of fishes. Without fishes, the coral reefs will die sooner or later. Bottom trawling nets destroy the seabeds and everything that comes in contact, including coral reefs. Though there is nothing called sustainable fishing, there are many other solutions to decrease these actions. Limit the catch numbers, create more marine protected areas, stop illegal methods of fishing, especially bottom trawling, worldwide catch shares, education and awareness about the topic, and make smart consumer choices. As an example of creating awareness, I made a leaflet on how people can help as an individual. You can scan it to see. This poster I made on a ride can be placed in school campuses or even in other public premises, where people can scan the QR code to help at an individual level. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you learned a lot from it. Thank you!
Good day, respected principal, Sir A.P. Singh, teachers, parents, and peers. I'm Armando, and I'm here to prompt you with a question. Has anyone ever told you off for being too boyish or too girlish? Like maybe one time as a male, you injured yourself and were told to man up and be like a boy when you called for help. Or as a woman, you offered to help with the groceries, but were declined for being too weak. Gender stereotyping is a very toxic yet prevalent idea in all of our societies, and I can guarantee you that you've experienced it at least once in your life, whether you were the stereotyped or the stereotyper, whether you experienced it firsthand or secondhand. But why is it so common? Why can I say so certainly that you've experienced it before? Why is it so deeply rooted into our conscience that it almost feels normal? Unconscious bias. A type of bias that we are completely unaware of. A bias that you're led to believe is not an opinion, but hard cold fact. It likely has manifested in all of us. An example of this can actually be seen right here, in this classroom. You may have noticed that females are praised more for being obedient, and males get more respect for being smart. And it does feel normal and quote-unquote correct. You likely would not bat an eye when encountering behavior like this because of unconscious bias. You've been brought up to think that women being obedient and men being active in classes is completely normal. This is something you need drilled into your head. Gender differences are learned, not innate. There are multiple mountains of evidence that prove this, but I do not have the time to cover them in the allotted time I was given. Another concept to throw at you: Stereotype Trap. The concept in which people feel the need to conform to their social stereotype. For example, if I told 100 men to try out ballerina, not many of them would accept because of Stereotype Trap. But as more morally educated students understand their biases and learn not to express them to their future children, Earth will quite rapidly become a utopia with minimal to no discrimination. Discrimination has so suddenly become morally incorrect, and I'm all up for it. So, what's the takeaway from this presentation of mine? Well, it'll be to understand your urges and completely eliminate them. Phase them out of your life. Then soon enough, genders dictating one's personality and behavior will become a totally foreign and medieval idea. And I think that's for the better. Thank you for listening. This is Armando signing off.
Hi, my name is Aisha from 8th F. My topic is about animal extinction and endangerment. What causes animal extinction? Animal extinction is a group of kind, usually a species. Species is not considered extinct until every individual, regardless of location, captivity, or ability, has died. What causes animal extinction and endangerment? The two main reasons is loss of habitat and overconsumption. Human can also cause loss of habitat, or it can happen to lose naturally. Should there be a conservation for endangered animals? Yes, it's important to understand how animals interact with their environment and how they're affected by environmental and human influence. Future generation can enjoy our natural world and conserving wildlife. Thank you.
Good morning, respective principals, coordinators, supervisors, teachers, and my dear friends. For this exhibition, I'll be talking about plastic pollution. My SOI is humans utilize their knowledge of systems and surroundings to solve the issues of the environment, and my global context is globalization and sustainability. We have been conveniently using plastics in our lives from carrying groceries to cutleries. We've been using it a lot more than we thought. Its durability and capacity makes it very efficient. History of plastics. Plastics are materials with a property where the forms can be altered. It occurs when cellulose are cooked and become celluloid. Fun fact, in ancient times, materials like egg proteins were used. It can be built by natural cellulose, but artificials are most preferred. The modern form of plastics were discovered by Alexander Parkes and Leo Baekeland. Alexander Parkes discovered Parkinson in 1855, and in 1907, Leo Baekeland discovered bakelite, world's first synthetic polymer. Fun fact, word plastic is also used to describe a material that is neither solid or liquid or between them. It describes the state of Earth's mantle, and back in ancient times it was used as a decoration. So what's the problem? Plastics, as we all know by now, is now a global burden or a problem. Due to its non-biodegradable nature, it will take hundreds of years to decay. We all dispose plastic to the ocean, thinking it's the best solution, but that is not it. Marine lives are drowning in this. Even an iceling made out of plastics exists. They get tied up or suffocate themselves. For example, like turtles, those pure creatures are omnivores. They eat anything. When they see a jellyfish, they eat it. The problem is they do not know whether it's a plastic or jellyfish. They look similar, as you can see here. What makes things worse is that turtles' mouth comprise of spine-like tentacle structures, which makes them suffocate themselves more. Now the solution. Now let's get into the solution. The only possible alternatives currently possible by technology levels are wooden products. As you can see here is a prototype version of a wooden bottle from India, which is a very innovative idea. Not only bottles, it can replace plastic spoons and even plates. Secondly, we have edible spoons. If we replace plastic with wood, deforestation would approach us. So to prevent that, we can at least replace spoon with edible materials. As you can see here, it's already being developed, but people said it tastes like woods, so a better taste is required. The wooden spoon is made from dough of wheat, jowar, and rice powder. It offers three flavors: sweet, salty, and plain. The spices are mixed up. It was found by Narayana Pisapatis. Here on my biography. Through this exhibition, I had acquired an IB learner's profile as the thinker, through the process of how to replace a thing that has been used many years, the woods, and how to solve the problem where there is overcutting of woods to fulfill the duty of replacing plastics. Thank you for listening to my presentation.
Good morning, respected principal, supervisors, coordinators, teachers, parents, and my dear friends. Today, I'm going to talk about the topic, stereotypes. As stated in my brochure, my key concept is perspective, my related concept is governance identity, my statement of inquiry is how the government may influence the perspective of the society and how they express themselves, and my global context is personal and cultural expression. Moving on to my process journal. Let's start off with some general information. What exactly are stereotypes? Well, a stereotype is a preconceived notion of a certain group or class of individuals. Like, for example, you might have heard some of these phrases, like girls liking pink, or that all Asians being good at math, or that all boys like sports. These stereotypes may be true for some people, but it's wrong for us to assume it. Before we continue, I conducted a survey of a various group of 10 people. Based on the survey, I have learned that stereotypes play a big role in these people's lives, as they influence their mindsets and how others see them. I also confirmed that art would be a good medium for dissolving stereotypes. Now, let's put that subject aside and move on. How are these stereotypes formed? Let's first start with the way we think. Our minds think in terms of categories that our experiences have given us. Although such categories could help one understand the world, they oversimplify it. To further explore this topic, let's look at the kernel of truth hypothesis, which talks about how stereotypes are based on some form of reality, that they are mental representations of real differences between groups. However, these differences focus on what makes the group most distinctive, which generalizes an entire group of people and limits variety. By doing this, we manifest statistical discrimination, which is the development of beliefs about a party member in terms of the group's overall expectations. This may cause the real group's characteristics to be influenced by statistical discrimination. Like, for example, if people already hold the belief that women are less capable than men, employers may hold unfavorable beliefs about the skills of female workers. Therefore, parents may underinvest in their daughter's education, thus fulfilling the beliefs. Now, let's see how arts can help dissolve these stereotypes. As you can see of the painting done by Kelly Reamston that shows a feminine lady wearing high fashion, but she's holding an axe in her hand. The axe juxtaposes the high fashion, thus breaking gender stereotypes. I began to draft my plan. I chose mixed media as my medium of art because it's more free and has less rules, thus making it the perfect way to express my message. This is my blueprint. For my materials, I will be using newspaper, stereotypical headlines, advertisements for the base of my mask. I'll be using cardboard and painting it black. I will also be using colorful napkins, flowers, etc. This is my final product. The mask symbolizes how people label others in society, while the beautiful flowers, which is very beautiful and colorful compared to the dull and gray mask, represents how people are much more than what they are expected to be, and how you shouldn't judge people based on the way that they are seen and labeled in society. So, in conclusion, through my product and presentation, I hope you understand that stereotypes are a harmful product of the past. And to move on into the future, we need to look at people for who they are and not who we think they are. This is my bibliography. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Eliana and my presentation is about poverty. What do we do? Today, we are focusing on the poverty cases in Indonesia. As we are all familiar with the global pandemic COVID-19, we can all agree that it has affected everyone. It also shot the number of poverty cases in Indonesia higher by pushing 2.76 million more Indonesians into poverty, bringing the country's poverty rate to the highest level since 2017 of March. Before we dig deeper into this conversation, I would like to give a quick definition of poverty. It's about not having enough money for basic needs and services, but such as what? Like healthcare services. People who are poor have a high likelihood in catching diseases and suffering with bad health because healthcare is way too expensive and hard to access for people who need it. Without the money for medical treatments from doctors and nurses, people who are sick get even worse, so they can't work. And of course, food and water. Without basic essentials like food and water, the likelihood of poverty would increase. A human's instinct is obviously to satisfy our needs and to eat, filling our stomachs with food, and drinking water to avoid dehydration. Without food, people won't have the energy and focus to work. Lastly, stable shelters. Shelters can better serve people living on the streets by being easier to enter and by allowing people to come as they are. By lowering barriers to entry, shelters are able to serve more people and those with higher needs. Providing people with stable shelters can prevent them from going from place to place. Now, let's get back into this. So, what are the two main causes for poverty in Indonesia? The first is corruption, like bribery, extortion, lobbying, etc. Corruption in Indonesia is rampant across various sectors, including the judicial system, public administration, and the police force. Among them, corruption in the public service sector has an especially significant influence on poverty. According to the Global Corruption Barometer's report in 2017, 25% of Indonesians reported having to pay a bribe to obtain identification documents, and 1 in 7 reported having paid a bribe to the utility services in the past 12 months. Next is unstable food supplies. Another cause of poverty in Indonesia is the stability of food, especially that of rice. The Indonesian population spends a large proportion of its disposable income on rice. A typical low-income family spends about 27% of its monthly salary to purchase the rice supported financially by the government. Unstable food supplies were the main cause of this high inflation, says that food prices in Indonesia are difficult to be handled for two reasons. First, Indonesia has significantly low farm productivity because of the use of outdated technology and a lack of progress in new crop development. Second, Indonesia cannot immediately accept more imports if there is a shortage of food supplies. So, to express what I feel about this topic, here's a poem that I wrote. There are people. Not enough to eat, not enough to drink. There are suffering more than you think. Scorching hot days, freezing cold nights, the chances of diseases reaching new heights. We are gifted with clothes, meals, and toys as we run and have fun. But what we don't see is that these people have none. No proper clothings, no fresh, clean waters, nothing to feed their sons and daughters. Children our age are working just to survive, while we take things for granted, not even thankful that we are alive. We say everyone deserves to be a millionaire, but honestly, do we really care? We say things like, don't take things for granted, or things like, be grateful for what you have been gifted. But do we actually mean what we say? Instead, we say things like, why can't my parents buy me this today? Believe me, there are people suffering more than you. There are people who struggle for even one meal a day. There are people who can't get cozied up at night. There are people who don't have a future that is bright. It's time to realize that poverty is real. It's time to realize that poverty is a big deal. It's time to realize that the things that we have mean more than you think. And it's time to realize that there are people suffering like a pirate ship that's about to sink. Thank you. So, to lower the cases of poverty, we have to provide basic needs and services to the people who are suffering this issue, like warm food and clean water, healthcare and stable shelters, like we discussed earlier. That's it for my presentation. Thank you for your time and attention.
Good morning. I'm Kim Kieran from ATAF, and my topic for today is carbon emission regulation. What is carbon emission? Carbon emission is the total greenhouse gas emission caused by an individual, event, organization, service, or product, expressed as carbon dioxide equivalent. The release of carbon into the atmosphere. To talk about carbon emission is simply to talk of greenhouse gas emission. the main contributors to climate change. So, what are the ways to reduce carbon emissions? We can learn the 5 R's: refuse, reduce, reuse, rot, recycle. If we learn this, we can make a happier Earth and we can reduce carbon emissions. Recycle. Properly recycle any plastic, paper, glass, or metal that comes into your life. You cannot refuse, reduce, or reuse by researching your state's recycling laws. Number 2, we can bike more and drive less. The toxins emitted by vehicle are also very dangerous for human health. Considering the tailpipes are at street level where humans can breathe the air directly into their lungs, we can challenge ourselves to drive less and bike more. It requires much less energy to produce a bike than it does manufacture a car. How did modern technology has affected the carbon emission? As technology had advanced, so has the number of tech gadgets more available to consumers. The increased energy consumption directly leading to more fossil fuels being burned. Modern planes, cars, trains, and ships have made it possible for us to travel all around the world, but their technological developments, along with the number of people driving and traveling, has led to more carbon emissions. So when there's problem, carbon emissions, there must be a solution on it. Solution with modern technology. I chose an electric car. An electric car is a car that is propelled by one or more electric motors using energy stored rechargeable batteries. Direct emission includes smoke forming pollutants, other pollutants harmful to human health, and greenhouse gases, primarily carbon dioxide. All electric vehicles produce zero direct emissions, which specifically help improve air quality in urban areas. Now let me share my video that I made for my exhibition project. We can reduce carbon emission. We can change it. We just need to work a little hard, a little better to make the clean earth and happy earth. We all can support and attend and learn to reduce carbon emissions. And one of the solutions I took from modern technology is electric car. Thank you. So, large scale and global environmental hazard to human health includes climate change, changes in ecosystem due to loss of biodiversity, changes in hydrological systems, and the supplies of fresh water, land degradation, urbanization, and stresses on food producing systems. As I talked about electric cars as one of the examples for carbon emission regulation, research has shown that electric cars are better for environment. This is even after the production of vehicles and the generation of electricity required to fuel them is considered. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gayatri, and today I'll be speaking on antibiotic resistance. The global context I chose for this year's exhibition is scientific and technical innovation. My SOI is Humans utilize the knowledge of the body systems and their responses to environmental stimulants in order to prepare themselves for extreme situations. What is antibiotic resistance? Antibiotic resistance happens when germs like bacteria and fungi develop the ability to defeat the drugs that are designed to kill them. Antibiotic resistance is a global issue that threatens the well-being of our world. Antibiotics have transformed modern medicine and saved millions of lives. Unfortunately, resistance has been seen to nearly all antibiotics that have been developed. The basic history. The modern era of antibiotics started with the discovery of penicillin by Sir Alexander Fleming in 1928. Key discoveries regarding antibiotics by German scientist Paul Ehrlich also contributed in the modern era. How does this pose a threat to society? Antibiotic resistance has the potential to affect people at any age, as well as the healthcare, veterinary, and agriculture industries, making it one of the world's most urgent public health problems. Each year in the US, at least 2.8 million people are infected with antibiotic-resistant bacteria or fungi every year, and approximately 35,000 die as a result of it. Causes. There are numerous causes as to why antibiotic resistance has become such a huge global issue. However, it can be narrowed down to three, which is overuse, incorrect treatment indication, and injecting antibiotics into livestock. Why is this issue not well known? One of the major reasons this issue is not well known is due to the misconceptions regarding antibiotics and antibiotic resistance. This slide reveals some common misconceptions by a survey. Solutions. Though there's no foolproof solution to solving this global issue, there are steps we as individuals can collectively take to prevent this issue from worsening. Number 1. Only use antibiotics when prescribed by a certified health professional. Number 2. Never demand antibiotics if your health worker says that you don't need them. Number 3. Always follow your health worker's advice when using antibiotics. Number 4. Never share or use leftover antibiotics. Number 5. Prevent infections by regularly washing hands, preparing food hygienically, avoiding close contact with sick people, and keeping vaccinations up to date. Number 5. Choose foods that have been produced without the use of antibiotics for growth promotion or disease prevention in healthy animals. The slide here displays the sources I've used for my research. Thank you.
Good morning, respected principals or APSing, teachers, parents, and fellow students. I am Satria from 8F, and I'd like to start off by giving you all a very simple question. If you ever hear the word virus, what first comes to mind? Well, you'd probably be thinking of this. We have always found viruses to be the antagonists of humanity's history. Throughout most of human history, viruses have always been something we had to oppose, something we had to overcome, something that brought a great deal of harm and damage to our livelihoods and our societies. But what if that's not completely true? What if in some way or another, viruses could mean something good for humanity? How? Well, stick around and find out. In short, viruses are microscopic parasites, about 1,000 times smaller than a living cell. They themselves, however, are not living things, as they are not made up of cells, and they rely on host cells to conduct metabolic processes. A virus's sole purpose is to find and infect a host cell, which would then allow them to reproduce. Once a host cell is found, they infiltrate it and take over its cellular machinery, injecting their own genome inside that of the cells. This then manipulates the cell into replicating thousands of virus particles. This process may alter, harm, or even kill the cell, which in turn makes us sick. Not all viruses are like this though. In fact, a majority of viruses which scientists believe to number more than stars in the universe, are completely harmless to humans. Some, in fact, are undergoing research by scientists who wish to exploit them to create treatments for medical conditions such as cancers, diseases, and genetic disorders. Take, for example, oncolytic virotherapy. This is a cancer treatment currently undergoing tests and trials, which utilizes engineered anti-cancer oncolytic viruses to infect and kill tumors within a patient's body. Once the virus is injected inside a patient's bloodstream, it seeks out potential host cancer cells. Once a cancer cell has been infected by the virus, akin to other viruses, the oncolytic virus repurposes the tumor cell's machinery and forces it to produce tens of thousands of new virus particles. These virus particles then burst from the tumor cell in a process known as lysis. The tumor cell is effectively killed, and the new virus particles then go on to find more cancer cells to infect and kill. Along with that, once a cancer cell dies, antigens are released, alerting the immune system of the patient regarding the presence of tumors within the body. Soon after, stimulated killer T cells join the fight against the tumors. This entire process occurs with no harm being done to the patient's own healthy cells. And it doesn't end there. Viruses such as bacteriophages, which target disease-causing bacteria, and virus vectors, which help in reversing genetic disorders, are all seeing a rise in the world of medicine. The possibilities are endless, and more attention should be given to what these microscopic wonders are truly capable of. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Today, for my exhibition, I'm speaking about students' mental health. So, what is mental health? Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects the way we think, act, feel, how we handle stress, make relationships, and how we make choices, and it is a crucial part of our health. Our mental health is affected by different factors, such as environment, experiences, relationships, etc. Students and mental health. Students have been suffering with poor mental health more than any other for years. Poor mental health can show negative effects on the student's school performance. How do students' mental health get affected? Students face a lot of difficulties in both their daily life and in school. Sometimes students can get overwhelmed and may even develop mental illnesses. Some challenges that contribute to these mental illnesses are: number 1, stress. Upcoming exams, events, deadlines may cause a lot of stress to build up in students. Stress can cause anxiety, insomnia or lack of sleep, feeling irritable, and even worsening pre-existing mental illnesses. Number 2, peer pressure. Being pressured to be like others, to fit in, or even to be badly influenced is very common among students. Peer pressure can cause a lack of self-confidence, low self-esteem issues, drastic behavior changes, and may even cause depression. Number 3, struggles with online learning. Being in online school for over a year has really taken a toll on students' mental health. This isolated learning causes students to have less motivation, more stress, feelings of loneliness, and many other academic struggles along with personal ones. Coping with poor mental health. Setting aside work or studies for just a few minutes to take a break, doing things you like, and just detaching yourself from electronics is a simple way to ease stress. Talking to a trusted person is also a great choice. Letting out your concerns and negative thoughts helps others understand your situation, and you may get the help you need. Seeking medical help is also another choice. Various medical treatments for severe mental illnesses are available for younger patients such as students. Using these healthy ways to cope, things will surely get better through time. Here are some more videos to learn more about mental health. Thank you for watching.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I will be talking about my topic, which is child labor. These are the slides prepared for this presentation. There are many children who are experiencing child labor around the world. Child labor can be defined as work for kids that is mentally, physically, and socially dangerous. Children are forced to work like adults and take part in economic activities. Child labor affects children's future and education. There are many types of child labor, such as trafficking, slavery, forced labor, and debt bondage. These types of labor are caused by poverty, traditions in a country, lack of teachers and educational resources, and disease or disability. Child labor will affect the children's education, future, health, and even lead them to mental and physical illness. Some countries do not provide them protection, and there are many people who die of malnutrition and starvation. There will be some people who are wondering if there are some ways to prevent child labor in the world. There are lots of things which we can do, but the most common one is donation and sponsor. Donation can really help the underprivileged, and it will also make kids get educated instead of working in hazardous areas. We also have to spread awareness about child labor and let many people donate and spread messages instead of the poor kids. This is a graph which shows the amount of kids working in different factories. As we can see, there are many kids who are too young to work in factories and they get no protection. The second graph shows the most countries which has the greatest number of child labor. This last slide of my presentation shows the poster which I made for spreading awareness worldwide about the child labor and what the small children are facing. Thank you.
Respected principal, supervisors, teachers, and my friends. I'm Tanmay from grade 8F, and my topic is how the pandemic affected us. My global context is globalization and sustainability. It's a testimony to our collective perseverance that we are able to hold this virtual exhibition, even in the most trying circumstances we find ourselves in today. While I was given the options of selecting the topic for the exhibition today, I thought it would be appropriate to focus on what's affecting the world today. Not just to sum up what's going on with the COVID-19 pandemic, but also to look at the past, the wider implications of it, and most importantly, the takeaways for the future so that we are prepared better to tackle a calamity of similar kind. I believe understanding the damage done by this virus outbreak will help people understand its severity. Now, let me walk you through my presentation. The past. The Spanish flu lasted from 1918 to 1920. It's estimated that about 50 million people died. Now let's fast forward to the COVID-19 outbreak. First of all, let's take a look at the economic hit. This graph shows us that India's GDP went down 23.9% between April and June. Italy's yearly GDP went down 8% in 2020. Many countries fell into recession, but only a few, like China, managed to duck the trend. The industry worst hit by the pandemic is obviously the travel industry. Numerous airlines like Singapore Airlines had to shut thousands of jobs and reported loss worth billions of dollars. The worst thing is that the many big airlines like Australia's Virgin Australia and South American Avianca Holdings had to file for bankruptcy. One big scourge of the pandemic has been the rise in unemployment. Closer home, Indonesia's unemployment rate reached an all-time high of 7.07%, which is more than 2.6 million jobs that were lost. The hospitality sector has been the biggest casualty of the pandemic. The hospitality sector includes industries like food and beverages, recreation, tourism, hotels, and etc. The hotel industry was hit hardest amongst them. Some experts say that it could be 2023 by the time they recover. It is estimated by the IMF that around 95 million people fell into extreme poverty in 2020. The pandemic also had an impact on the environment. Carbon emissions had been steadily rising until the pandemic hit the world. During the pandemic, the global carbon emissions dropped by 6.4% or 2.3 billion tons. Another notable winner from the pandemic is the manufacturing industry. They kept expanding as we needed more masks, gloves, and PPE kits. They kept building factories in order to keep up with the demand. Vaccine companies had a good year, sending their stock prices through the roof. At the heart of the fight to overcome this crisis is the healthcare industry. With the world scrambling for vaccines, the global market for shots will reach an estimated $35 billion and is expected to further jump over by $44 billion in 2023. What are the lessons learned from this world changing calamity that's still wreaking havoc? It underscores the need to invest in healthcare infrastructure, research, and creation of a social security system for the vulnerable, and the need to embrace technology and continue scrutiny of what triggered the pandemic. Also, corrective measures to prevent a recurrence. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Shaya Jaiswal from Class 8F, and my topic for this exhibition is Pandemic and How It Changed Our Lives. Pandemic and How It Changed Our Lives by Shaya Jaiswal 8F. This is my global context, key concept, related concept, and SOI. Topic: Pandemic and How It Changed Our Lives. My global context is globalization and sustainability. Key concept: change. Related concept: conditions, interaction, relationships, health and well-being, lifestyle. Statement of inquiry: the pandemic has changed our lives and has affected in the way we live and interact with people. What is a pandemic? An outbreak of a disease that occurs over a wide geographic area, such as multiple countries or continents, and typically affects a significant proportion of the population. A pandemic outbreak of a disease. What is COVID-19? COVID-19 is a disease caused by a new strain of coronavirus. CO stands for corona, VI stands for virus, and D stands for disease. Formerly, this disease was referred to as 2019 novel coronavirus or 2019 nCoV. How many cases, recovery, and deaths have occurred because of COVID-19? This is the average death rate caused by COVID-19. Challenges we faced during this pandemic. A lot of people face challenges during COVID-19. A few of these examples are not able to pay their rent because there is no income, loved ones going away. People are losing their jobs and way of income because of the virus and the safety measures that were taken, which requires social distancing and isolating yourself from others, which affected business greatly. This is my process journal progress. This is my poster. The impact of my exhibition is to spread awareness of how dangerous this pandemic is and inform them more about the pandemic. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ramanika from ADEF, and today I would like to talk about water pollution. My global context is globalization and sustainability. Key concept change, connections. Statement of inquiry. Globalization is good, but has impacted the environment, causing pollution, bringing change, especially to drinking water. What is water pollution? Water pollution is a contamination of bodies of water, such as lakes, rivers, oceans, etc. This in turn ruins the quality of water and hurts the aquatic life living underwater, and it can sometimes also reach our own household water sources and harm our health as well. What causes water pollution mainly has to do with human activities such as trash throwing, disposing of industrial and production waste improperly, and general incorrect waste management. Common pollutants of water include trash that we throw into the water or throw on the streets and end up in water. Other surprising sources are sewage and industrial waste. In fact, according to the UNESCO, untreated sewage in many developing countries is often released and pollutes oceans, rivers, and lakes. Not only that, but oil spills, such as the Deepwater Horizon oil spill of 2010, also caused a lot of damage to our waters and especially to the aquatic life that resists underwater. And while a lot of us around the world do our best to prevent the different forms of pollution, it is going to take a lot more time because water pollution is rapidly continuing to grow around the world. Water pollution and your health. The CDC provides valuable and helpful information on the subject of water. It is important to be aware how unclean, contaminated water can affect not only the environment, but also us and our health. Some connections between contaminated water and human health include there are standards and regulations set by the United States Environmental Protection Agency that all public water systems must follow by law. Community water fluoridation prevents tooth decay, and it is known as one of the biggest environmental accomplishments of the 20th century. 780 million people in the whole world do not have access to clean water source. Contaminated drinking water, lack of water for hygiene use, and lack of sanitation practices all contribute to 88% deaths due to diarrheal disease worldwide. There are many ways we can stop, or at least reduce and prevent water pollution. According to the NRDC, we can reduce the amount of plastic use or recycle and reuse plastic correctly, dispose of waste properly using services such as a dumpster, rental, proper waste services for your home, and business waste services, dispose of chemical cleaners, oils, and non-biodegradable items correctly to make sure they don't end up in places they don't belong, like our waters. Regular checkup on your car and take it to the service regularly so it doesn't leak oil, antifreeze, or coolant. If you have a yard, consider landscaping that reduces runoff and avoid applying pesticides and herbicides. Be sure to properly dispose of any yard waste. This is my bibliography. Thank you.
What is bullying? Good morning, everyone. My name is Ibrahim from Grade 8F, and my topic for today is what is bullying? Global context, identities and relationships, key concepts, identities, SOI. Cyberbullying harms human dignity, affecting a person's identity and relationship with others. Therefore, one should never bully anyone. What is bullying? Bullying is unwanted aggressive behavior among school-age children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. The behavior is repeated or has the potential to be repeated. Over time, both kids who are bullied and who bully others may have serious lasting problems in the future. Types of bullying: physical bullying, indirect bullying, cyberbullying, and verbal bullying. Physical bullying. Physical bullying includes any physical contact that would hurt or injure a person, like hitting, kicking, punching, etc. Verbal bullying. Verbal bullying includes name calling, making offensive remarks or jokes about a person's religion, gender, ethnicity, socioeconomic status, or the way they look. Indirect bullying. Indirect bullying includes spreading rumors or stories about someone, telling others about something that was told to you in private, and excluding others from groups. Now, cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is done by sending messages, pictures, or information using electronic media, computers, emails, and instant messages, or cell phone, text messaging, and voicemail. For example, if you comment offensive or harsh jokes and make fun of someone by posting their faces on Instagram or Facebook, this would be cyberbullying. Cyberbullying has grown rapidly over the years, 4% in 2003 to 60% in 2020, with almost 80% of all smartphone users getting cyberbullied, and 4 of them suffering from depression. Warning signs of being bullied: coming home with damaged book or missing clothing, reports of losing items such as books and electronics, having unexplainable injuries, has trouble sleeping or has frequent bad dreams, has changes in eating habits, looking sad even in happy situations. How can we prevent cyberbullying? Don't respond or react to the bully. Avoid commenting or getting upset. Block the bully. You always have the option to block them. Inform parents or teachers. Be alert and careful with whom you communicate. Choose friends sensibly. Do not open messages from unknown people. Thank you. Don't bully anyone, and don't be bullied by anyone.
Grade 8F, your annual exhibition, boys and girls, under the guidance of your class teacher, Miss Shailaja, and all your subject teachers, and of course, chief motivators, Ms. Gurpreet, Mr. Bharat, and the guiding force at home, your dedicated parents. Boys and girls, again I see that the projects which you have undertaken are of a global level. You're dealing with issues which are far beyond your classroom, and that's the way to go. Analyzing world issues. Abhinav Dinesh, you are dealing with protection of marine life. Indeed, it is a clear and present problem in the world, marine life, because man is responsible for disturbing marine life. Well, Abhinav, I hope you have come up with some good solutions. Ben Winston Kusnadi, you are dealing with public health. Yes, it's the responsibility of the nation, the governments, to deal with public health of all its citizens. So Ben, I'm sure you have come up with some good solutions which can be shared. Armando Suyanto, gender inequality is your topic. Indeed, Armando, in 21st century, the world is still suffering with the plague of gender inequality. Everyone is equal. Ibu Kartini said so. But still, there are disparities. So Armando, I'm sure your suggestions will help. We'll send all your suggestions to IB. Guanli, plastic pollution. Man thought that plastic is a big blessing, but it has turned out to be another huge pandemic, I will say. Plastic in oceans, plastic in land, plastic when it is burnt, the toxic fumes. It's really become a nuisance. And we have to find alternatives. I'm sure, Guan, you will be offering some good suggestions. And cyberbullying, Ibrahimi, that's what you're dealing with, cyberbullying, cyber crimes. This is another clear and prevalent problem. And it has to be dealt with. It has to be dealt with. And if anyone experiences cyberbullying, we should inform. You should, boys and girls, inform immediately your parents, your teachers. Don't wait. Don't wait. And Kim Kyo-yun, carbon emission regulation, that's carbon footprint. We have to reduce it to make the climate of the world cool, and there's no global warming. And so we have to reduce the use of vehicles, planes, and trains and factories which emit fumes which are full of carbon dioxide. We have to look for alternatives. That's the future. And I'm sure, Kim, you're looking for solutions. And Satria Lembayong Pramono, you're dealing with the world of virus. Yes, virus, just now it's pandemic coronavirus, and the whole world is afflicted by this. And we are looking for solutions, the silver bullet to cure it, but still vaccines have come out, they are helping, but precautions have to be taken always. The standard precautions of masks, I think we'll have to live with that for quite some time, wearing masks, social distancing and hand washing. But I think the world should be prepared for future. Research has to carry on so that we are not taken by surprise, to heal from different types of viruses. Shaurya Jaiswal, pandemic and how it has changed our life. Indeed, now we even use the word new normal, Shaurya, isn't it? We have to live and adapt ourselves. We have to take care and precautions. So we look forward to your solutions, Shaurya. And Tanmay Thomas, you're also dealing with pandemics. Well, the solutions are common, Tanmay. I hope you have come up with some good ideas. And Aisha Shafiq, animals extinction and endangerment. Yes, habitats are being destroyed. By who? By man. Yes, Aisha, man is responsible. So I'm sure through your project you'll come up with some new ideas, because you youngsters are the future, and you have to look into all these issues which you're dealing with now in grade 8F and continue to deal with when you grow up. Arshdeep Kaur, poverty is your project. Yes, it's a disease, poverty, prevalent not only in Africa or some underdeveloped countries. It is, poverty prevails in the entire planet, whether it's US, UK, Europe, Japan. There is poverty everywhere. There's some people who are deprived of even 2 square meals, deprived of a roof over their head. So Ashdeep, your suggestions are surely going to help. And Braces Putri, Magindan, overfishing. Yes, again it's man's greed to make extra money. Man is overfishing and destroying marine life. Eventually, it will affect the entire mankind. So if you have to put an end to this braces, so I'm sure you'll come up with some good solutions. And Kiara, Celine, Dharmavan, why stereotypes are wrong. Now, this is a very specific topic you've taken up, and I'm sure you will be analyzing stereotypes and why they are wrong. I wish you all the best for that. Eliana Deborah Cottel, ending poverty, yes. United Nations are worried about it. Nations are worried about ending poverty. I am sure when young people like you, Eliana, get involved, surely solutions will be coming. Wish you good luck. And Gayatri Harish Tolani, antibiotic resistance, yes. It's a medical issue. How sometimes human beings take antibiotics without thinking, and then the resistance for that antibiotic starts in the human body. It's a medical issue, Gayatri. I'm sure your suggestions will help many people. And Madeline Yasoputri, students' mental health. Yes, it's a very important issue. Students sometimes get stressed, and especially in this COVID times. But boys and girls, I am sure Madeline has come up with some good solutions. And prayer, little bit of cheer, maintaining a happiness journal, chatting with mom and dad and teachers and friends, having Zoom meetings, doing yoga. All these things help. I'm sure Madeline has also got some good suggestions. And Remanika Babu, you're dealing with water pollution. Yes. God gave us clean rivers, oceans, brooks, streams. But man, due to his carelessness and selfishness, has been polluting water. And now a situation is coming when there is shortage. So Remanika, I am sure through your exhibition you'll have got some good suggestions. And Yi Yun Kim, you're dealing with child labor. Child labor. Who engages young children to work? It's people who are greedy, people who have no empathy, and who are just out to make money, so they engage children to do work like robots. It should come to an end. Yes, I agree with you, Yi Yun Kim. I'm sure your project will have a lasting impact. So that marks an end to Grade 8's annual exhibition. And in conclusion, I can say that the work done by the students of Grade 8, their teachers, their parents, is remarkable. And it's laying off the seeds in the minds and hearts of boys and girls how to make this world a better place. And it all begins from school. So keep up the good work, keep thinking about your projects, because what you learn in projects will help you later on in life to analyze the problems. With these words, once again I congratulate the entire team, all the teachers, Gurpreet and Bharat, and your parents for working together. Yes, once again I repeat, it takes an entire village to educate a child. Thank you.